Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we're having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of Rocket Factory, which is being made by forum user Randy LeBeau, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a whole lot of new rocket parts, ranging from the rather quite small to the freaking large, including a beautiful 3.75 meter size capsule, which may very well be the most impressive command pod I've seen in a while. So let's just jump right on into the VAB and just start taking a look at all of these great parts. And we'll start by grabbing, oh no, actually a Mark 1-2, because, well, slightly bigger size comparison, and we'll also need it for other comparisons momentarily, and then head to the Manufacturers tab, because thank God this mod maker used it, because as you can see, we have a lot of parts to go through today, and if I had to go through each of the individual categories, I probably would miss something. So thankfully, Manufacturers tab, and let us begin with, as we usually do, the command pods, and for this one, we'll start with that large 3.75 meter capsule right here, the Kappa Sigma V5 Explorer Voyager class, which is gorgeous, and also, as you may notice, not quite stock alike. It's similar to stock alike, but it's a bit more futuristic, a bit more near future, I guess, is probably the best way to put it, but with definitely some influences from some of the more modern, maybe 90s, early 2000s designs for potential spacecraft, which is a theme you'll see in a lot of these parts here. It's not quite stock alike, but it's close enough and it looks gorgeous enough that, frankly, I can kind of ignore it. And as for the stats on this glorious command pod, it holds up to a maximum crew capacity of 11. 11 freaking Kerbals fit in this thing, and it's glorious. Oh, and I should point out right off the bat, a part of this whole glorious capsule is its internal view, which all of the capsules in this mod do in fact have custom IVAs, which we'll get to later on. But yes, it fits 11 Kerbals in there in quite a beautiful internal area. I really do enjoy it. We'll get to that though, but for its actual stats, it does have its own built-in data transmitter, its own RCS, reaction wheel, SAS, 2 custom science reports, one being a green crypto goo observation, and the other being an atmospheric analysis, along with the typical crew report, and then also has electric charge, liquid fuel, monopropellant, and oxidizer. Now, I'm not going to go over all the exact numbers for all these things as I usually do, because, again, we have a lot of parts to go through, so I'm kind of going to try to pound these out a little bit quicker than I normally do, because, yeah, a lot of parts. And yes, that is the Voyager class Explorer, and it's great. Now let's move on to the next capsule here, which is the Kappa NKV Leia Series, and this one is holds a maximum of 4 crew capacity, does still have its own data transmitter, reaction wheel, SAS. It has the crypto goo and the atmospheric analysis, along with the typical crew report, electric charge, liquid fuel, monopropellant, and oxidizer, just like with the previous Voyager class, so it's quite good. Both of them can be a little bit more independent with their own built-in fuel sources and batteries, etc. They're basically just a built-in capsule ship, which is quite good. And again, the styling on this thing is gorgeous, just like on the other, and very, very cool. Now, the next one we have is the Gamma NG1, and this holds a crew of 2. It does have its own data transmitter, RCS, reaction wheel, SAS. It has the atmospheric analysis, but not the crypto goo. Of course, the typical crew report, electric charge, liquid fuel, monopropellant, and oxidizer. Then the next one we have is when we're moving into the 1.25 meter category, which is a very lovely little one-manned command pod with a data transmitter, RCS, a reaction wheel, SAS, the crypto goo, the crew report, electric charge, and monopropellant. So no liquid fuel or oxidizer on this one, but other than that, you do have the fun little crypto goo, which is quite nice, and the built-in data transmitter, which is always cool. I quite like all the command pods having that. It's quite nice. The next 1.25 meter one we have is another 1 crew capacity with a data transmitter, reaction wheel, SAS. This one has the atmospheric analysis rather than the crypto goo, the crew report. This one, though, does have liquid fuel, oxidizer, monopropellant, and electric charge. So nice little self-contained one-person capsule. And then the last one we have is the Bootleg Series, which is another 1.25 command pod with a data transmitter, reaction wheel, SAS, a crew report, none of the other science reports in there, but does have electric charge, liquid fuel, oxidizer, and monopropellant. And I actually did forget to point out something here. So we have these lovely 1.25 meter capsules, which is quite cool. So we have those in those designs. We then have the large one, which is a 3.75 meter capsule, which is quite large and quite beautiful. We then have the Leia Series, which is a 2.5 meter capsule, but that's where this one, the Gamma NG, is different. It is a 2 meter capsule, a custom capsule size for this particular mod. As you can see, between the Mark 1-2 and the, oh god, I'm forgetting what this one's called now, the Leia series, they're both, equal in size on both their sections here. They are 2.5 meters, and then we have 2 meters, which is a little bit odd to me to have a custom size in between two existing sizes, but you know what, it works out quite nicely, and there are parts in here such as a 2 meter to 2.5 meter adapter so that you can easily fit between the two, which is always good. So that is the capsules. Let's move on to the other parts now and start up at the top here with various separators. We have a whole lot of new separators here, this one being a 5 meter separator. We then have a 3.75 meter separator, a 2.5 meter separator. Down here, a little bit separated from those separators, is a 2 meter separator, and then a 1.25 meter separator, and lastly, a 0.65 meter separator. So a large allotment of different sizes of separators for basically any ship you could imagine, between 0.65 and 5 meters. Always good. We then do have that 2 meter to 2.5 meter adapter, which I did show off momentarily with the Gamma NG capsule here, which is quite handy. It is purely an adapter though, so no fuel or anything like that inside, just a structural adapter part. We then have two different fun new lateral engines, which we'll pop onto here and zoom in a bit. Now these are quite interesting. They are of course lateral engines. This one using liquid fuel and oxidizer with a max thrust of 210. The other one uses monopropellant instead and has a max thrust of just 180. So depending on what fuel you want to use, you can either save your liquid fuel and oxidizer and use monopropellant, or vice versa, just losing a little bit of power with the monopropellant one. Still though, very nice little engines. We then have a 5 meter Aero protective shell, which, oh boy, let's get that out. So it of course is just like any of the other fairing protective shells that you can get in the game, except this one is designed for 5 meters, so it can fit inside of it one of these Voyager class Explorer 3.75 meter capsules here, which is quite cool. We then get into another engine, which is the Hummingbird Bpt 180, and this one is a fairly small little engine, so let's zoom in here, and as you can see, very nicely little made engine. It does use liquid fuel and oxidizer, has a max thrust of 180, a very nice little Hummingbird. We then have a parachute, which I gotta admit, isn't too dissimilar from existing parachutes, so I'm not entirely keen on this thing, but you know what, who doesn't like having another parachute in their arsenal? It's a very nice shoot. And then the next thing we have here is two different docking ports, one being made for the Gamma series, which of course is our 2 meter capsule right there, and then the other being made for our Sigma series, which is the large fella right here. So just two nice little docking ports, as you can see. Very, very nice indeed. Now then we run into a nice little collection of solar panels, and you know me, I love solar panels in this game. So the first one is the DRG Solar PN01 Large, which is a fairly sort of typical, I guess, soft, or, I don't exactly know what you would call that type of solar panel, but it sort of folds in on itself with a much more softer solar panel. Very, very cool little thing. I do enjoy it. And, of course, has a nice little animation to it. The next one in line is the Esp R7 60 solar panel, which is one of the more solid types of solar panels that extends outwards, and has a nice flat end to it up there. Very cool. We then have the R840 solar panel, which is another hard sort of solar panel there, which goes out similarly to the last one, but has more, I guess, angled edges at the end. Very nice. We then have the R880 SXL, which is another hard solar panel. And if we extend that one, is I think my favorite of them. I don't know why, but I like this big rectangle in the center. It's a big, big solar panel that will get a lot of good sun. There we are. We then have the Esp 220S, which is a nice little small, hard solar panel. It just extends out a little tiny bit away from the ship. Always good to have. Oh, nope, that's the whole capsule. Let's just grab the solar panel. And then finally, the Esp 365M solar panel, which is a slightly larger one here, extended outwards. Very nice indeed. A good little collection of solar panels. I always love having plenty around. We then have this lovely Srv 500 fuel tank, which you'll notice is in that custom 2-meter size that we have for the Gamma class ship. So, you know, just a nice little liquid fuel and oxidizer container there for it. We then have another Hummingbird engine, the MPT 180, if we zoom in. So just another in the Hummingbird class. This one, though, uses monopropellant. So very similar to the difference between the two lateral engines. We have the liquid fuel Hummingbird, which has a max of 180 kilonewtons, and the monopropellant Hummingbird, also with 180 kilonewtons in thrust, but of course we'll use monopropellant as a different fuel. I find it interesting, though, that the max thrust is fairly comparable between the two, so maybe that'll change in the future, who knows. Now the next things here I'm going to come back to because they kind of freak me out, and I'll tell you why momentarily. And then we have a FRT 360 solid fuel booster. A very cool design for a solid fuel booster. Most of them are, you know, just the straight sides. They're just cylinders with, you know, rocket nozzles at the end. But this is quite a cool little design. I do enjoy it. It's very, very cool. And then the next is another chute. This one designed more for the atmosphere of Duna, of course being named the Duna stack chute. And then we have two lovely RCS thrusters. Again, like the lateral thrusters or the Hummingbird, one of them is liquid fuel and oxidizer, the other is monopropellant. They both will produce 2 thruster power for the RCS. And yes, just depending on what fuel you want to use, either monopropellant or liquid fuel and oxidizer. Very cool little thrusters, though, nonetheless. Another weird part I'll come back to. We then have the Skywipe liquid fuel engine. Yeah, I love this thing. It is just a gorgeous looking engine. Look at that beautiful baby right there. And has a max thrust of 1,210. Of course, uses liquid fuel and oxidizer. We then have the much larger Skywipe X2800, which, oh yeah, look at that thing. 2.5 meters in size with a max thrust of 2,880. And of course, also uses liquid fuel and oxidizer. A very cool, gigantic engine. I love the look of that thing. Then we have another Skywipe, the X500, which is the smallest of the Skywipe engines here. And zoom in, lovely. Again, liquid fuel and oxidizer. This one, though, only having a max thrust of 590. And otherwise, very cool. And who doesn't like the name Skywipe? Another weird part I'll come back to. And then we have another 2 meter to 2.5 meter adapter. This one, though, unlike the last, actually does hold fuel inside of it, so it will hold liquid fuel and oxidizer. We then have a small little tank here, which is in the 2.5 meter size. It calls itself an adapter, but I don't know what it adapts to or from, considering it's 2.5 to 2.5 meters, but holds liquid fuel and oxidizer, so maybe you could use it as just a thin tank. Very nice. And then the final 3 tanks here we have are the Srv Flt 1200 fuel tank, which is 3.75 meters in size and holds a lot of liquid fuel and oxidizer, the Flt 800, which is 2.5 meters and still holds a lot of liquid fuel and oxidizer in it, and finally the Flt B220K, which apparently is sponsored by Heineken. I like that. I don't know why, but I do enjoy that. And it is a lovely little fuel tank which holds liquid fuel and oxidizer. Very cool indeed. Now to these weird parts that I don't quite understand why they're in this mod, and I don't think I'll ever use them. We have the BAM fuel generator. We then have the BAM electric generator, both of which are of the stack variety, so they go in line with the rest of your stuff. And then we have radial versions of them, so a radial BAM fuel generator and a radial BAM electric generator. And oh boy, frankly, I do not like these parts because I find them horrendously cheaty. I mean, if you want to cheat, all power to you. Have fun, enjoy yourself. But if you're trying to do a serious playthrough, these are not parts you'll want to use, because if we talk about the electrical generator first, it uses a small amount of power. In this case, for the radial electric generator, it will use 24 electric charge per minute to then produce a whole lot more power at 8.5 electric charge per second. So 24 per minute to get 8.5 per second. So that's why I don't like it. You're using a small amount of electricity to make a lot more electricity. Now, they explained it in the description as potentially perpetual motion, but still, it seems horrendously cheaty to me, and so I don't think I'd ever use it. The other one, which is the BAM fuel generator, it uses electrical charge, in this case for the radial version, 24 electric charge per minute, to create liquid fuel, oxidizer, and monopropellant. So it's taking electric charge and making matter out of it. So it's basically a replicator for fuel. And again, I don't like that because it's too cheaty. If you like to cheat, have at it. Have your fun. For me, though, I'm not a big fan of these parts, and I kind of find it strange they're in with all of these other very cool, near-future-ish spaceship parts. I don't know why they're here, but they are, so if you want to use them, use them. If not, ignore them. Personally, though, I'll just leave them be. Now, let us go and, oh boy, we are 17 minutes into this already. There are so many parts. Let's take a look at the IVAs here for the different command pods. And I have made this little weird monstrosity to look at all of these things, so let's just go right out to the launch pad and have a look at them. Now, I have a weird little bug with the command pods and their IVAs. Though I doubt you will ever encounter this bug. When I launch a ship on its own of just one command pod, it's just fine. But when I have multiple command pods like this from this particular mod, and only this mod, if I had a standard vanilla capsule on here, it wouldn't do this. But if you'll notice down at their pictures, they're blindingly white. They're just saturated in light. And if we actually go into the interior, you can see everything is just saturated with color, and it kills. It actually also lowers the frame rate, too. It's just horribly saturated. I don't know why this is happening, but again, it's only happening to me when I have multiples of these command pods. That's why I've created this weird little contraption here, because if you watch their pictures down here, if I separate this capsule, you'll notice it goes from blindingly light to perfectly normal. And I just gained another 10 frames per second. So let's go inside the big capsule here, which is an absolutely gorgeous thing. Again, it holds 11 crew in total and has a beautiful design to it. We've got a nice selection of snacks all around, some good little bits and bobs of flight equipment here. Some sort of, I don't know what that is there, but it interests me because it's gold. All the flight computers, new course, optimal, etc. We go to the next seat here. Over on the other side, we have space exploration for dummies, a lovely cup of Kerbal coffee, and all this stuff. And notice down there at the feet that is a lot more space down at the bottom. And that's because This place is just a big hollow open capsule with 11 people in it. If we go to the next seat in the back, you can get a better view of it. And that's where we just were, upstairs. Now we're downstairs. And there's still one more floor downstairs. This is a 3-level capsule. And apparently, failure is not an option. And a tape deck. Lovely. I have this great computer here, a Commodore 64 for some reason, which is... well, that makes a lot of sense, frankly, for the Kerbals. Okay, and then over here, some Commodore 64 instruction manuals. And I like the little plaque for the capsule there, the Sigma Class Explorer. Very cool. Now, going downstairs to the final bottom floor, I love that we have that nice ladder there. But we are facing this direction over here. Then we have this particular one, another nice cup of coffee, and then the next one kind of creeps me out. Oh, wait, nope. I think one more is what we need to go to creep me out. I was wrong. Here it is! We have HAL 9000, which means that this capsule is doomed. But yes, this is at the very bottom floor in the back. We have a lovely little HAL terminal here, which just amuses me. I like it. Now we're back up at the top. Very good. So let's then go to the next capsule, which is, I think, should be this one, the Kappa. The Leia Series. So let us drop that. It's not dropping. Oh boy. Oh, am I not on the right one? No, I am on the right thing. Why is it not releasing? It's also not letting me manually do it either. Interesting. My plan has failed. Oh boy, guys. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. Give me a second, folks. So, guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to fill the rest of the capsules with Kerbals, so that is why it wasn't initiating. So the next one here that we should be dropping is, I believe, the Leia Series, so let's go and do that. And it was not the Leia Series, it was that one. Let's go over to it. There we are. Instead, we drop the Gamma and G. So let's look at that IVA. A glorious little thing. Again, we got some nice snacks, which are defying gravity, because that is actually sideways right now. A space exploration for dummies. Another lovely computer there, and the other seat is up top. Oop, I did not mean to do that. I hit the wrong button. Okay, and we'll just go to the IV of the other one. So there we are, the pilot seat up above. Very nice, very cool. Another very good little capsule. Now we can go back to the other ship. There we are, and drop the next capsule here, which I think now should be this one. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. It wasn't. I completely screwed up the order of these. Lovely. Okay, so... Alright, we are now in the 1 series, which is one of the, of course, one-person capsules. There we go. IVA, a lovely little IVA. I do like the rectangular windows there. Got the nice crossbars. This one, though, sadly, no snacks on board, but a very good little IVA nonetheless. Very good. Okay, now to the next, which is that one, which, wow, that one dropped really slowly. For some reason, that dropped the frames by a lot. Okay, no, not that one. This one, excellent. So we are now in the Bootleg Series. There we are, lovely. Another nice little one-person command pod, a little bit different from the other. Very, very cool nonetheless. Good detailing, always good. Okay, now the next is... Oh, nope, that's not the right one. Here's the right one. I was inside of the large one. Excellent, another one-person. Cycle through them. As again, I don't know why it's doing this whole issue with the light, but oh well. Another lovely interior with this one. Very cool controls. Very similar capsule. I mean, you can't really do much with a one-person command pod, but just different configurations of windows. Very cool indeed. And then finally, now we get to the Leia Series. There we... Or not quite. You know what? It's fine, though. I don't have to release it. I really screwed up the staging on this thing. But yes, this is the Leia Series. It is a 3-person command pod. Very cool. So we got the nice pilot seat here with good visibility from out all the windows. And of course, being the Leia Series, it's strewn with pictures of Leia. There we go. We got another one here in the back console. Lovely. Another picture of Leia there. A Commodore 64. Always good. Also playing some games on that Commodore 64. Very nice. And the final seat with another picture of Leia and yet another Commodore 64 game. Always good. But yes, that is all of the different command pods for this particular mod. All very well made and put together, but none as good, in my opinion, as that 3.75 meter one. It's just glorious. So let's head back to the Space Center and just go up into space real quick to take a look at just a sort of an idea of what you could potentially make with this particular mod in hand. Oh god, we have so many things on the ground now, but this is the rocket station that I built earlier. Let's actually wait until it's a little bit better in the light. And a little bit more. So just an idea of what you could build with this. I mean, I know it is built for rockets, so you probably want to see a rocket, but I found the parts quite intriguing for building a space station, especially with that gigantic 11-person capsule. I just couldn't pass up the opportunity for making a space station with it. And plus, all those glorious solar panels. So with our rocket station, there we are, it's finally loaded. Let us, oh no, it's still not quite loaded. Set the SAS to prograde. Beautiful. And look at this thing. It's great. I love it. It's mostly fuel tanks and a gigantic Voyager class capsule up there, and every solar panel in this mod. Once I do press 1, it actually is going to drop the frames by about 10 as all of them open, because there's kind of a lot of solar panels here. And of course, that gigantic Skywipe engine on the back. Overall, just an interesting idea of something that you could potentially make with this mod. So, if I hit 1 and open all of the solar panels... Huh, it actually went pretty smoothly. I was expecting it to go a bit more slowly, and... Oh, nope, there it is. It froze slightly. I told you it would. Oh god, some of those solar panels were freaking out a little bit. But yes, there we go. We have the Rocket Factory monstrosity of a space station. I love it though. I love it to death. It's just gorgeous. Oh, it's great. But yeah, we've got the lovely Kleineken tanks back here supplying us with useful Kleineken brew, I guess, question mark. We then, of course, I did add on some of the fuel generators just so that they're there so you can see them. And yeah, overall, just a very, very cool mod pack full of a lot of just awesome parts, frankly. I'm really falling in love with it, especially the capsules. They're all very well made, very well put together, and just a great mod overall. So if you'd like to check this out for yourself, you can take a look at the link in the description as always. But yes, I do hope that you have enjoyed this episode today, and of course that you do come back for the next. But until then, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.